Not worry about it simply, but...
Dean, he said not to worry about it.
Weren't you listening? I could hear Oswin grunt before making a move to leave, but his footsteps came to a halt as he called out. Dave, I know you're there. Come on down. What's going on? Roswell's sick. Well, yeah, we know.
Really sick.
How sick is really sick?
Probably dying, Dave. The thing we knew.
Osmond put a hand on my shoulder, shaking his head. He'll be fine. Comparatively to, well, dying.
That's not much of a comfort.
Can't he have medicine? And what medicine would you want me to give him? I could knock him out, but he'd still feel the pain. What? Is that even a thing?
I don't know.
I can knock him out, but he'd still feel the pain. I guess the unconscious body can experience discomfort, but there's still like the entire reason you knock people out is specifically to have them not consciously experience the pain. I could numb the pain, and he'd be wandering about in a daze and likely a danger to himself.
Or just put him in bed and lock the door.
like Patience. I don't think he is a doctor. I don't think he knows anything about doctors.
I don't think for even a second, yeah.
He's like baffled at the idea. He doesn't know what surgery is as a concept. He's never heard of it. He doesn't know what being a hospital patient's like, or what the steps are, or what might happen in those contexts. As opposed to what? What's he like now? Aside from tired, he seemed alright before.
He looks like he's just run a mile, but it's his eyes. They're so dilated.
Would you rather him conscious or asleep? Sounds like he'd be better asleep. Fine. If he consents, then I'll put him under. Why don't you ask him then? Dave's just me now. Oh, come on. We're long past that point, Dave. The point of that, Dave. What?
I don't know, man.
Point of what? Ask him.
You're barking up the wrong tree.
He waved me off, shaking his head. Now, if you'll excuse me. I don't know what that interaction was. What the fuck did he even mean by that? You said if he consents. So it's not like you're past the point of asking for him consent then, if that's what you meant. When did all this happen anyway?
We came inside to get coffee and almost ran into Roswell.
Well, we did actually. Almost knocked him over and had Orlando rushing out to help. And then you were planning on coming to get me?
That was the plan.
Where's Haas and Tyson? They split off to look for something to help. No clue as to where they ended up. Let's go check in on Roswell then. I'm curious to know if Osmond is actually going to help or not. Roswell. Roswell, please.
I'm fine.
Boy, you are not fine and you know it. Roswell was on the floor and Osmond was supporting his back as he knelt beside him.
It would be cool if there was another, it would be cool if there was a new sprite for Roswell with his big dilated eyes. You know what I mean? Like, it's just an opportunity that it's just not taken.
Just develops anime eyes. My advice directly to Grizz was to just delete day 22 from the story.
Yeah.
Because maybe it'll do something in Route A, but in Route B, the plan is to send Benson and Roswell. Then they spend the entire day being like, oh no, Roswell's getting worse. And then we just like loop through a series of different alternate plans if Roswell can't make it. And then he just gets back up. And so the plan at the end of day 21 happens on day 23, and day 22 would accomplish nothing, just in its entirety. Yeah. And so we'll see if Route A is any different, but I feel like they're doing the same thing again. So yeah, you can functionally delete the entirety of day 22 and it wouldn't affect the story.
Yeah.
Now, I'll ask you again, which option did you want to go with?
I can't sleep. I have to keep.
Roswell, what did you do? Is he okay? Did he just passed out? I didn't give him anything, if you were wondering. This is bad, isn't it? What do we do? We let him rest. All this excitement is likely wearing him down faster than if he were leisurely waiting out the clock. Oswin picked up Roswell carefully, shifting him to carry him on his back. I'll go put him to bed. You figure out amongst yourselves what you want to be doing next. There was a look on Oswin's face as he carried Roswell out of the room, somewhere between grim and absent.
Well, at least he's in the care of a doctor.
Oh no. He's not a doctor anymore. He's more qualified than any of us are.
Thank you, Orlando and Dean, for contributing.
Mm-hmm. But it's really happening, isn't it? Roswell, you know.
Dying.
Thanks, Sal. I shifted uncomfortably on the spot, not liking the prospect. I don't like it when my friends die.
It's the most likely thing that's afflicting him. Although, if it is, I don't think there's much we can do aside from making him comfortable.
So soon? I thought we had more time. We've definitely done this before. What about tomorrow? The thing's gonna happen anyway. But what if Roswell falls over and something different happens? Dang. He put his arm around me, looking around briefly to see if anyone else was around. We know Roswell's not fucking going unless he makes it better real quick. Even then, I don't think he's gonna make it. Harsh, but I get where you're coming from. Right. So they're talking about the escape plan. I don't know why that dialogue was different. I caught the faintest smirk across his face before he continued. Could be fun. You know, on the beach. It was the snicker that followed that really clued me in on where his mind was at. I couldn't help but follow suit, if only a little. Uh-huh. What?
Nothing.
Right,
Sorry. I had an excitement out of game thing where I realized I can remake my Lorelei and the Laser Eyes thumbnail because we got cool fan art.
Yeah, I did
That's
that
all.
a few hours ago.
I'm gonna do that right now. Sorry, what you heard just now was my extreme joy over feeling serotonin for the first time in 4 hours. It was just like
See, you too can make Toaster make that noise when he gets fan art.
Yeah, I just got very excited because I felt something, which hasn't happened in multiple hours now. So that's all. That's all that's going on. And I'm feeling I'm super stoked over it.
You've never been more Tyson than ever before. Your synchronicity. The words brought a smile to the face. Yeah.
What a fucking gift. This Lorelei and the Laser Eyes fan art is great. I want to just put that out there.
Cool. Yeah.
It's really cool, and people should fucking play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes, because guess what? It's a really fucking good game! It's a really good game that isn't this game that we're playing right now.
Yeah. It's just drawing us as the characters has very unfortunate implications.
I, for one, love it.
That's been Toaster's plan all along. He's been waiting. Now he's vindicated. This all makes sense if you play Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. The words brought a smile to the face. The way he whispered them as he leaned in, carefully pressed his muscle to mine. Even when trying to be gentle, he didn't really know what he was doing, but he was trying. Sliding his muzzle alongside mine until he had his chin resting on my shoulder, he hugged me close. Tyson is confused by hugs.
That was an extremely sudden shift.
because the music cuts when I fast forward. Him plus Osmond and Benson, but I assumed it's just the same. They're just recognizing that Osmond's alive. The fact that that's all that's changing today is upsetting. We're really having the same conversations, but Osmond's alive. Yeah. This is all the same stuff too, because Tyson's gonna go out into the woods. It's just a slightly different version of the conversation because Oswald's here. They've medicated Roswell, he's stable. The people are volunteering for who's going to go instead. It's all gonna be pointless because fucking he's probably gonna wake up and still do it. We can ask him about the picture.
It's skippable, isn't it? Or you skipped ahead.
Yeah, I've been
Right,
mashing. Would you be so lucky that he'd have you thrown you onto the It's the first line I try to read in this scene. It's immediately typos. Would you be so lucky that he'd have you thrown you under the bus when they arrived? Alas, you have some explaining to do in lieu of no bus. It sounds like a fucking YouTube shit or whatever it's called. What are they called again? YouTube poop.
It does. A YouTube shit? Is that what you just called it?
I couldn't remember what it was actually called. I was like,
Someone send me fucking help, please. Keith is having an event. Jesus Christ. This is pain.
I could do this all day.
I could not.
And I frequently do.
Release me. Release me, foul demon. It's gonna feel like a dam breaking and just a torrent of water rushing when we are freed from this lament configuration. Like, I just cannot. I feel like I'm in the Hellraiser universe, and
then we'll
Pinhead,
do another playthrough of Fear and Hunger or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly at this point where when we finished Fear and Hunger, I was like, this was quirky. I enjoyed this experience, but it's really rough around the edges, and I don't see much value in just like reiterating on an experience that I have already touched very directly for 40 hours or whatever. We did 2 playthroughs of Fear and Hunger 2 because we went for like different endings and
now
different things.
Now you're quivering and begging for that timeline.
And now I'm sitting here like for the past few weeks, literally I go to sleep at night and like one of my anxiety thoughts is like, Toaster, remember this horrible thing you did in 6th grade? You said a dumb thing and you were wrong. Think about how bad that was. Also, think about how you could be playing Fear and Hunger right now. And I'm like, no, all my worst demons coming to torment me. Why? It's just pain, It's just, that's where I'm living. That's where my life is right now. And it's just one of those things.
But alas, you have some explaining to do in lieu of no bus, Toaster.
He means the study, not like it's any big secret. We didn't go into your lab without you being there, if that's what you were worried about.
The study? Yeah, we found it inside a book.
Was it a special book?
Or special little boys? Well, Oswald's sister had hollowed out the inside of it to hide the metal and a picture inside. Things that are not of significant size. You would not need to hollow out a book to put those inside them. A picture of what? Oh, I went to speak, but he was already moving, almost breaking out into a run as he cleared the dining room. What the fuck? So what was the picture of, given he wasn't willing to stick around to hear you out? What? What was that interaction? A picture of what? It's gone. Just, what? Why would he ask that? I guess he ran to go check out. I guess he's running with the assumption that I don't think is even a reasonable guess, that they left the picture there and don't have it right now. I guess that's why he ran away to check it out. So what was the picture of, given he wasn't willing around to stick you... Wait, so this is just going to be the same conversation now. God damn it. He ran out of the room so that I could reuse the Route B conversation where we all explained the picture without him being in the room. Swear to fucking God. Now they're talking about being family with each other. I
really feel like when we play this experience, I genuinely feel like I'm in a fugue state. like I disappear for a while and then come back and the game is still happening.
I need to get out of day 22. It's so useless.
It is the worst day of
The entire
thing.
game. Yeah. It's just a cul-de-sac. Oswin? He was sitting at the desk, the photo clutched tightly in his hands. So the moment I made a sound, he stiffened and sat up straight, dipping his head so he could quickly wipe his eyes. Are you okay? When he turned to me, he was stone-faced, but his eyes were puffy. Even having not gone all that long, he must have been hit hard by something in that picture. I'm fine, things considered. Which everyone can't stop saying in this thing. They're all really big fans of that podcast. Sorry, I can come back if you want to be alone. Just, you ran off and we're done downstairs for now, it looks like. Whatever being done means. Because this isn't dinner. He shook his head, setting the photo down. There's no benefit in being alone or with people. So do as you please. I guess it is dinner again. It's not the same day it was knocked out. What does the note mean? On the back of the photo. Without prompting, he flipped it over, looking at the photo again.
Don't forget about family, you stupid fucking idiot. Like, what do you think it means? Dave
It's
needs...
a self-evident statement, yes.
Dave desperately needs... Oh, I can't even make this reference because you don't fucking watch Dimension 20. God damn it, Keith. For those in the audience that watch Dimension 20, I desperately want Dave to have Ida Eggfort's comprehend subtext spell very badly. I would really like that. He needs it.
I thought that came up.
Comprehend subtext?
Yeah.
The spell?
Yeah.
If it did, then you might be having... I don't know. Don't ask me. I don't remember the things I say here. As I said, playing Password is like putting me in a drugged state. Like, I just don't know what's happening.
Yeah, he'll admit to anything right now. What's most important? What's most important? It was always something like that, she said to us. Something that was meant to keep us focused on what we were meant to be doing. Me with my medicine, Reggie with my studies, and whatever Father wanted him to focus on. It's gonna do that thing where, like always, Dave prompts something for an answer, and the answer is so self-evident that seems stupid to ask, but
Yep.
Dave will, in the process of asking, reveal an insane answer. That is not what anyone would have thought. And it's like, one, I get, like, well, half the time it's because the answer is just genuinely insane and incomprehensible, but sometimes it's because Grizz wants the narrative to reveal something, but it still makes no sense that Dave asks because the cover version is so self-evident that why would you question it? Floranica? Flora, yeah. It was the last thing Reggie said to E before he passed me as well. E. I got the feeling he knew something bad was going to happen, and, well, he was right. What, him dying of the illness you knew he had, and that's why you were trying to cure him? He had a feeling, a vibe. I hate that all these bookcases have glass windows. It feels gross to me. Because of the medical trial?
Can we interrogate that?
What?
Why is having books in glass display cases, why does that upset you?
I think it's because I primarily associate glass with getting dirty. And I know that's like, it's a dust shield for the libraries, and people always talk about you should have a library in your bedroom because of the fact that they gather dust and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I exclusively associate glass with like getting greasy or getting dusty and like all the different ways that blemishes show and reflect. And so like they're inevitably, glasses primarily exist to be glass exists to either be invisible or to show that it's dirty.
Yes.
It's like how you only notice that your monitor is a monitor when like particles of like liquid have landed on it at some point, and you're like, ah, fuck, I gotta wipe my monitor down or something. You see like specks, and that's when you notice the monitor. And like, so you only notice glass when it's blemishes or when it's reflecting or obscuring. It's just, and in its own way there, it's like when you have a glossy comic book and the fucking reflections are getting in the way of like being able to look at the images clearly, and you're trying to like get the reflection to go away, like to like you're trying to like move the page to like change where the blob of light is so you can see it clearly. Like now you're looking through the glass to see what the books are. You're like, just open it, just open it, fuck it. Stupid glass is in the way. So anyway, cool. there's my Aaron Hansen Subway rant about glass cases for
I
books.
I didn't know if it was going to be a philosophical thing of like putting glass on a case for books implies the casting behind a social class for art and knowledge, and so I just didn't know if it was.
I just find it like texturally upsetting.
Yep, texturally upsetting. Gotcha.
Like sitting with bare skin on a leather couch.
Yes. So ideologically speaking, void, purely sensational.
Yeah,
got it.
That's, I mean, everything about the interior of your house should just be censorious anyway. It shouldn't be ideology. Oh, it's my ideology is why I have glass.
Gotcha. Cool. That's all. Just was curious.
As if things couldn't be worse, so many things lined up with that day. 100 dead children or something, I guess, whatever. My brother dying, big deal. The trial went wrong. Reggie passed. I knew my life was forever changed that day. It was meant to be a day of great happiness, but I don't think a drug trial generally tends to go wrong on a specific day, unless you literally just poisoned them all and they died immediately. Which feels like the implication. And if you're cutting it that close to Reggie's death, then you were never going to save him. Drug trials take years. If anything, you should have just used it on him, just to see if it'd work. If it was that desperate, is your one chance. He was smiling, but I could see the tears start to threaten the corners of his eyes. I'm sorry, Oswin. At the very least, Flora was there with her husband, and Benson came soon after I called him to tell him what was wrong, what went wrong. He was there when Reggie passed, and took me away soon after things were settled, shall we say. Settled? Just some paperwork, really. Funeral arrangements and the like. Most of it had already been handled by my brother as a precaution, assuming that I'd have my hands full with the vaccine should things go well. But if things went well, wouldn't he have been cured? Yes, but such a cure wouldn't work immediately. Even dosing Reggie, assuming a successful response in the children, would mean he'd need to be watched for a while. Oswin stood slowly, breathing out and tucking the photo into his pocket. Thank you for checking up on me. It only seemed right given, well, how you left. Yes, well, I suppose the time for tears can be until you've escaped off the mountain with your friends. Assuming we can figure out who can go along with you. Yes, that is something we need to decide, isn't it? Unless it gets immediately retconned tomorrow. Isn't going to be me, is it? Pardon? It's just, that's the impression I was getting, that somehow Thanatos was arranging things so I'd be going with you. If I'm being frank, I'd much rather you didn't join me. Of your friends, Dean is the one I'm considering taking, should I not be able to bring Roswell. Oh, well, good, I guess. You're not worried about Memphis trying to recruit him? I will also be annoyed if it's Dean who does it, because canonically in the other timeline, Dean goes after them to look for them, and then Tyson goes after them to look for Dean, and then Dean just shows up. So that could just be a direct replacement of him having gone with him in Route A anyway. Oh, well, good, I guess. You're not worried about Memphis trying to recruit him? Not overly. No offense to Dean, but I don't think he and Memphis will click based on morals alone. Dean's proven a little too soft to join organized crime. That's a weird way to put that. Not like he's a good person. He's just soft, weak, sad little baby boy. And he's not big enough to pass on that quality alone, like sound likely would. It's weird that it even enters the narrative that they're worried that he might try to recruit Dean and Sal just because they're big.
Yeah, it also is just like so blatantly not even in the cards.
No, it's also just it's like, it's not, it's specific, it's that specific passwordism where it's so not in the cards that you know it is in the cards because they're bringing it up for some reason. Like they're forcibly bringing it up because it's a factual example that like, oh yes, behind the scenes, he's decided that this would be in the cards potentially somehow, even if it never happens. So they're just gonna start saying it now. Kind of like how everyone just psychically picked up on the fact that he's homophobic.
Yep.
Without him entering the narrative. Like, he didn't show up yet, but suddenly, the day before he arrives, everyone realizes he's homophobic with no input. You're like, what the fuck? Well, that's, if Dean is as good a woodsman as I'm led to believe, he'll be back in no time. Oswald's hand found a shoulder and he looked me over. Do not misunderstand, however. I'm going to spend the rest of my day concocting something to jumpstart Roswell to a stage where he can come along as intended, or at least try. Why? Because he's the most expendable? I wouldn't put it so simply, but if we're reducing things to raw facts, then yes. As the one whose life is the closest to the end of its natural expectancy to maximize the years left for the rest of the group, which is the only way to measure value of life, the word seemed to catch in his throat, and he stopped there, looking away.
I am sorry to say, that is actually the only way I would measure the value of Roswell's life.
How many years?
That is, in fact, exactly how I would measure the value of his life.
Can we set up a countdown on a website? I'm just thinking about, oh no, poor Roswell's doomed to die, and I'm like, what if this game just ends like the Halloween tree? Like, what if I promise a year of my life, in my life, and then, oh, I'm Ray Bradbury, and I think that's swell. So we learned the Halloween tale. The moral of the story was to give a year of your life so the ginger kid could live. This cartoon's narrated by Leonard Nimoy.
This is stupid. Stop talking.
So, I just revisited that cartoon like 2 years ago for Halloween, and it was just very shell-shocked by names I recognize now that I didn't as a kid. So it's just now the primary things I remember about that cartoon are the fact that it's a Ray Bradbury story and it's narrated by Leonard Nimoy, which are not things I had a concept for when I was 8. Also, I think that the evil old man is voiced by like Doc from Fast the Future. Also, so it's like just a lot of noteworthy names. I don't know. Okay, yeah. Sorry, I'm thinking of narratives that have themes and arcs.
I laughed too hard. I have to pee. I'll be right back.
Toaster's back.
So many things happened. So many things happened.
So while you were gone, I was thinking about the Halloween tree, and specifically, I realized I had a core memory unlock. I remembered the like, oh right, I liked that movie, so I read the book, and for most of my life, I have gone with the understood knowledge that was a shitty, cheap tie-in novel to a movie, like they always have. And I'm just registering today that it was my first Ray Bradbury novel, because the cartoon's based on a book. So when I binged the entire Halloween tree book in one day, and it was quite a page turner to young me, that was me reading Ray Bradbury as a kid.
Yes. Correct.
That was maybe the first book I ever read from like a significant literary author that you would brag about ever reading. I never registered till just now that it probably they wouldn't have a novelization of the Halloween tree. They would have just put the Halloween tree's iconography on the movie's iconography on the book, like you did with like Lord of the Rings and so on.
You're so funny. You're such a funny person.
I just haven't thought about it this whole time. Anyway, come now, Dave. Are you willing to risk your own life should things go awry? We don't know how things tomorrow will go. I think I do. But if we're playing the odds, then Roswell's the right choice, yeah. Assuming he's well enough to go. Leveraging his luck is the right move. He's so
can't
lucky that
leverage
he's
luck.
literally dying right now. What about you, though? You're making me think of the fucking bounty hunter arc of Clone Wars with the fuck where Obi-Wan turns into a bounty hunter, and at one point someone that's just mad at him was like, "Aha! Well, bounty hunters also have to be lucky, and yours just ran out." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Luck is not a thing. That's not. You're just cheating. What about you, though? Will you be staying with Memphis while we all escape? I will be fine. Should the worst happen, Benson knows what to do. The definition of not being fine. Won't Benson miss you if you get killed, though? Almost certainly, but with our options so limited, risking death is just the point we're at. He made to leave, walking past me. Where are you going now? If I have half a day and a night at most. If I have half a day and a night at most, should I forgo sleep to get Roswell on his feet, I best get started now. That's a rough sentence to get through in that order. You'd best rest as well, Dave. I imagine tomorrow is going to be tolling on on everyone. Right, yeah. I stood there as he wandered away. No, sorry, I was expecting it to be the right word. I stood there as he wandered away. I knew where he was likely headed, but I made no effort to follow. This is like the main route. All I had to do was believe in him. He'd get Roswell fixed up. The plan will go ahead as required, and that was that. We'd be free. As I made my way downstairs, I was in a daze, wondering how likely Oswald was going to succeed in his making of some medicine in half a day. It didn't seem possible, but all things considered, I wasn't going to turn down a miracle. See, the constant use of all things considered by various characters with their voices is really undercut by the fact that even the narration says it constantly. So it's just how Chris writes. It's not character voices.
Ah, Dave, there you are.
Huh? Oh, were you looking
That was
for
a
me?
weird voice that I just did for that. That was not right. That was a whole new character. That was Benson's brother, Bobson.
Is he hot?
He looks exactly like Benson.
Oh.
The others were curious how you were faring, checking up on Oswin.
Yeah, we just had a chat upstairs, but now I think he's going to be holed up in his lab for the rest of the day.
I imagine because of Roswell.
Yeah, apparently he wants to mix up some medicine for him or something. A stim pack. Benson seemed to consider the prospect over longer than I expected him to, tugging at his mustache. Just say, for longer. Benson?
I sure do hope that man knows what he's doing.
Oh, he provably doesn't. You don't think he would?
I believe he's emotionally compromised and is about to make a rash decision.
Because of stress or because,
Because of what? Nope, wrong voice again. It keeps happening.
You're gonna beck him again.
It just keeps coming out, and it's painful every time.
Well, he saw a picture of him and his siblings upstairs. Something Florencia hid? Damn it. Hid, I think. So he's probably thinking about family?
Yes.
These people have never heard of people.
I believe he is.
Great deduction, guys. Think he'll get to see his sister again?
Who can say?
Can I ask you a personal question? It's, I don't know,
No.
something that's been bothering me a little while.
What is it?
Oswin and Roswell.
That's not a question.
They're not related, are they? I mean, they seem close whenever Oswin takes Roswell away somewhere, or times like now, right? It's not the first time it's happened, so also they look like the same person.
I have a proposition for you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so I'm gonna send you a picture that I just made in Photoshop because I'm really a good artist.
Uh-huh.
and then I'm gonna send you a picture of someone else, and I want you to tell me if you see it, or if I have lost my mind.
I don't know what this is gonna be.
It's not bad. It's just more fun than thinking about password.
Is this even related to? Why?
You know what I mean? It just came into my mind.
I guess.
It just hit me here, and I was thinking, the voice is so close that it could. Maybe this is the genesis of where this came from. That's all.
Here you go, everybody. Toaster's
This is not going to
artist.
hit with our audience who were born after the show stopped, but I've been on a real Mythbusters kick
There's
lately.
an entire thread of people being mad at us for even referencing the idea of people being younger than us and not being exposed to the same things. I don't even remember what the topic was. But
People were mad about that?
yeah.
Wait, were they actually mad? Why are they mad about this?
They see it as, I guess someone sees it as condescending or whatever. I mean, there's always someone who gets mad at anything. So it's like the one guy and then the one person who agrees with them and then they
Right.
talk about it or whatever. But
Here's
it's
a fact
but it's
about
just
the
dumb.
world. Condescension exists, and I am being it. I am condescending you. Acknowledging the fact that I am being condescending is not going to change things. Condescension isn't evil. It's just condescending. So I'm sorry. But also, I'm not being condescending when I say you're too young to know a frame of reference. It's okay if you don't. I'm aging us, not you.
It's just normal to not have been exposed to everything that's older than you. Thing.
But also,
That's just a normal thing that happens in life.
it is just a situation of like, oh yeah, people don't watch cable, and the shows that I'm referencing haven't been on the air for over a decade now.
Can't believe you're evil to the Zoomers.
Sorry, Zoomers, you'll inherit the world. We're powerless. I'm sorry.
That's a toxic power dynamic, Toaster.
That is a touchy subject.
So yes, the answer is yes. Then Benson. The only way to say no was no. So you said not no, which means yes. Touchy how?
A long time ago, Oswin wanted a child of his own. A long time ago.
But
a long time ago. A long time ago.
I don't know why he keeps writing stuff like that and never changes it.
Life decided that it wasn't meant to be. He decided as punishment to himself that he was unfit to raise a child. Oh. So is Benson saying Roswell is his child and that he just didn't raise him? Didn't you predict this?
At one point, yeah, but there's also because genetics are supposed to be how this thing works, but also like life decided he wasn't meant to be. My example of life deciding this is that he decided.
Yes.
It's like, no, life didn't decide shit then. He just decided. Also, he decided twice again. Just can't avoid repetition every single sentence like it's a bit. Because of the medical trial.
Very good, yes. It was because of the trial. Okay, well.
So, Roswell.
Let's just say it's a means for him to enjoy the thing that he wished he had. That's all. So I'm confused.
They said it as confusing as possible. Yeah.
So, but is he actually Oswin's son? Maybe I'm just getting your prediction confused with what's happening right here. Because
it's confusing because he does say he decided as punishment to himself that he was unfit to raise a child.
Which implies there was a child to raise and that he just chose not to raise him.
But then there just is a Roswell. Somehow Roswell has returned. And then he says, let's just say it's a means for him to enjoy the things that he wish he had, which implies that he's not Roswell's kid. Roswell's not his kid. But then where'd he come from? Because Roswell's, I believe, younger than the trial. Because Sal was in the trial.
Yeah.
So he's younger than the trial. And
or was
Sal's
Sal in the trial?
Or Sal's
I guess he was.
sister was in the trial. No, she drowned.
She wasn't. She just drowned.
Because it seems suggested that Sal was in the trial. If he was no, yeah, he was in the trial because we confirmed that in Sal's route at one point.
Okay.
And so I believe Roswell's younger than the trial.
Yeah.
So doesn't that mean that Roswell wasn't born yet when the trial happened, so he can't be Reginald's kid? Because he's dead. I don't know. You think it would be nice if they just said what they mean out loud, clearly. I gave Benson a funny look, but his stare didn't give me anything else to work with. When they both go into the woods tomorrow, I have questions.
And at that time, I'll be happy to provide answers.
Why later? I'll have questions later tomorrow when they're not here, even though they're not here now.
And at that time, I'll be happy to provide answers. But in the meantime, I should go provide support should he need it. A little fatherly touch, if you will.
We'll just so voluntarily put off things until tomorrow, unprompted. No one asked Dave to do that. Good luck. I wouldn't know the first thing on how to help there. I'm emotionally oblivious and I'm not handling the Tyson situation well at all.
I shall see you later, Dave.
Guys, I'm back. Welcome back. I still think we should just eat whatever the fuck we want if we're hungry. If we're getting out tomorrow, may as well. And if we don't? How did checking up on Oswin go, Dave? Fine. He's in his lab now, I think. Gone to see if he can get Roswell up and about to make tomorrow easier. Quickly scanning the room, I noticed the lack of a certain rat about and frowned. Thanatos is missing. As if he's normally just here. Yeah, he said he had somewhere else he had to be. Sure he does. But just in case I misheard you, Oswin is still going to the woods tomorrow and is going to work his magic at Roswell to go with him still? Still. Magic? He's gonna make medicine or something. I don't know how that works. Still, we can't go eating all the food. Okay, but why though? Because, you know, I didn't feel like writing the sentence, like most sentences that end that way.
I think if anyone's going to make the most use of that food, it should be us, right?
For what it's worth, I think it's worth splurging a little bit. worth. We'll feel better going into tomorrow well fed, just in case the worst should happen.
Worse. It's like poetry, it rhymes.
Or better yet, give us the energy we need to make sure we can make a clean escape. Carbo load before the big game, Sal.
A good idea, yeah, but what do we want for food? I could see Ty starting to speak, and I reached over to push his muzzle aside, speaking for him. Why'd you fucking ask then, Dave? Because I could go for fried chicken and pumpkin bread. Together? Isn't that racist?
If we're making requests, may we have chicken and waffles instead?
Do they have this many options? I thought they were starving.
Sounds like Comfort Food Central.
Guys, we're not having chicken and waffles. Please.
Counterpoint, Orlando. If you don't let us have chicken and waffles, you have two older brothers willing to step in and make you do it. What? Are they all brothers now? Do they all love each other like brothers?
They're all siblings now. The brother energy was dissipated through the group once two of them fucks. The hierarchy has to be reestablished.
Oh, I wouldn't do something like that.
They're all siblings and they're all best friends and they also don't know each other's last names.
Come on, Sal. You're letting the side down. What?
I'm a
letting the side down?
Yeah, I don't know. Letting our side down or
side down? Is he calling Sal aside? That's funny.
Check out this side.
Sorry. Orlando, please make us chicken and waffles, or I'm going to tell everyone the story about what happened when you had coffee.
Immediately miscalculating and like overcorrecting into being manipulative. Oh? You wouldn't.
I think we've actually already seen this scene.
I don't know.
Failing that, I had Tyson in the wings because he counts too, but Sal's ready to go, it seems. I just remembered them arguing over food and then him talking about coffee.
That is most of the scenes.
It is most of the scenes. You are correct. Maybe I'm just gaslighting myself into thinking we've already seen this.
For chicken and waffles, easy. I've never had chicken and waffles. I don't know what that combo is. I don't get it. Fine. I'm gonna go prepare the chicken now. If we're doing this right, I need to prepare buttermilk. Well, that's dinner sorted.
I'm a little excited now, if I'm being honest.
Sal looks like he hasn't slept ever. You're still gonna tell that story though, right?
Why would I do that? He's making chicken and waffles.
Us? Help?
I'll offer you some advice here, Tyson. Pick the battles you can win, and you're not winning this one. It'd be like fighting Dave on anything to do with arts and crafts. Remember arts and crafts? The thing Dave is notable for? Dave, the one with strong opinions about all arts and crafts. That comes up frequently in the plot.
Yep, Dave is so well characterized as how he's so artsy and stubborn about his artsiness. Which was largely summarized by a flashback where he's like, we could, like, you know, paint and stuff. You want bunk beds? Anyway. Oh, fuck that then. Puffed out my chest in pride before I saw Sal start to make movements. Where are you going?
Fried chicken is something I can cook and cook well. If nothing else, I'll offer to help Orlando with that for the rest of the day.
He'd already made up his mind, it seemed, and followed Orlando into the kitchen. I don't love the idea of the chicken's 3 weeks old, at least. Tyson followed suit soon after, mouthing at me pumpkin bread, before flashing a thumbs up and heading into the kitchen as well. Well, that's exciting. Dinner, or just seeing the mood shift upwards? I was worried we were going to be down in the dumps, what with the impending deaths and all. I flashed Dean a quick smile, but it faded as fast as I thought about tomorrow. It was going to be a big day. A lot of things had to go right, and there was still a worry I had things... or a worry I had that things could go horribly wrong.
Dave.
Huh? What?
Don't worry, I don't think anyone has forgotten, but try and focus on other things for now.
Yeah, it's not a great situation, but all of us know that. We'll get through it, one little bit at a time, alright? Yeah, I guess you're right.
How about you go find us a board game and bring it downstairs?
Huh? Why? Wouldn't be bad to just spend the rest down there, right?
I just cannot believe they're still wasting time.
Yep,
You
no,
can
they're
cut
just
out-
killing time.
You can
The whole
cut out
narrative
this
is just
entire
all
fucking
these
day.
characters killing time because they will never be proactive about anything. They just waste time between the murders and the time skips and between the impending dooms. It's always the entire narrative is them just sitting around. Wouldn't be bad to just spend the day down here, right? Give Roswell space to recover, Oswin space to work, plus we're all keeping together, so it should be fine, right? Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, any preference on what game?
So long as it's something we can all play, it should be fine. If they start talking about Mouse Hunt or whatever the game was,
Mousetrap.
we can just skip it. Yeah.
I rushed upstairs with a notable spring in my step, but stopped dead in my tracks as I went to make a move for the cupboard with the games. Roswell was sitting there, dazed and seemingly out of it. Thanatos, on the other hand, was seemingly waiting for me to arrive. What's going on?
Come here, Roswell's got something for you.
I shuffled closer to see exactly what Thanatos was referring to. As Roswell was sitting in the beanbag, he had one hand cradled in his lap, with the other resting beside him, holding something that looked very familiar. Wait, that's... In his hand was another medal. This one was a prominent letter V, with the Anzol curvy. More importantly, shouldn't he be in bed? Like, great, he found a medal, but...
Dave, you need to get out of here.
Oh, this is Roswell having his like vision, right? This happened in Route B in a different way, I think.
Can't remember. His fingers flexed around the metal disc just a little bit, but his overall grip was slack. What?
Dave, he's...
Roswell struggled to lift the metal, breathing hard. His hand was shaking as he held it out for me to take.
He's about to...
It was a trap, and my fingers barely brushed the metal before a sharp pain in my skull made me black out. Holding up the metal for him to take was a bad way to get him to leave Roswell. Things were going so well. Things seemed to be taking a turn for the better, as much as it could be, but Thanatos had decided to knock me out again. I've been doing it more recently, and it was starting to mess with my understanding of what exactly it was I was meant to be doing in any given moment. Questioning if I was awake or asleep, plus dealing with the disorientation afterwards and the immediate pain at the start. It's weird to say all this while you're getting knocked out. This is not textually conveying the act of being knocked out. This is all how Dave should be thinking about the being knocked out after he wakes up. You don't put it here at the knockout, where it's supposed to be an abrupt, disorienting, surprising experience. The only thing consistent I knew was that whatever I was about to see, I wasn't going to like it. Even as I was unconscious, it hurt. It hurt in a way I couldn't quite understand, but I could feel the lingering ache in my head all the same. I was no stranger to Thanatos' well, habits of putting me under, but why he was doing it still eluded me. Maybe he just enjoyed doing it. Maybe he had a greater purpose. All I knew for certain was I wanted it to stop. Once again, this is all the narration you have when you're not currently confused by your visions that you don't fully understand. When my eyes opened, I knew where I was immediately. It wasn't the first time that I wasn't in control either, just a passenger in my own body. I yawned, pulled out my phone. Damn. I flicked through my contacts and hovered over Roswell's name, before flicking over to Dean's and hitting dial. A few seconds later, he picked up. Dave? What's up, buddy? I missed my bus, I think. Oh, shoot. How'd that happen? I don't know. I was napping, I think, but something wasn't adding up. I was sitting there and I just missed my bus? If this was a dream, fine. If this was a memory, then what was traumatic about this event that was making me remember? I hadn't been hit, or something bad had happened, right? No, Dave, it's just the thing you don't realize is bad, which is that your 26-year-old boyfriend's gonna pick you up in his car to drive you to school. As if to answer my question, a screeching car in the distance caught my attention, and I stood suddenly. I could feel my fur stand on end as the car came speeding down the corner and down the street towards me. Is this Dave's drive-by? Dave? Everything all right? How the car was moving was off. Aside from fast, it was traveling in a straight line at all. It wasn't traveling in a straight line at all. Aside from fast? What a weird sentence. Dave? Things went black just before the car crashed into the bus stop. I could feel my body tensing up in anticipation of the impact, but it never came. I could feel what was happening next just before I could see it. The heat, the way the air felt heavy as I breathed in. It was night. Though the raging fire in front of me made it light as day. In my hand was Thanatos, limp for some reason. Though deep down I knew I could figure out why. Despite still being on the edge of the driveway, I was close enough to the heat of the fire. I was close enough that the heat of the fire was radiating off the house in waves. I was cold another way, somewhere deep inside. Thanatos. Part of me was hoping he was still alive. Part of me was wondering if this was just some trick or dream within a dream. Why did you... I stood there just watching the fire for a bit, stunned and sick, sad and scared. Where were the others? Why was I outside? What happened with Jack, Dominic, or Memphis? Why was the house on fire? On top of that, why was I not wearing a shirt? Had I been sleeping? Just what had happened that led to this moment? These questions were going to go unanswered as once more things faded to black. My head still hurt, body aching as I felt myself begin to settle again, though this time it felt slightly more comfortable. As I opened my eyes, I found myself tucked into my bed. A light slap on my face confirmed I was awake properly now, and I carefully sat up to get an idea of what had happened. Not that there was anything to go off. I was in bed. Everything was as I left it. Someone had brought me here after finding me passed out in the rec room. I checked my phone to see what time it was, and I'd somehow slept the day away, and it was now morning again. With a groan, I rolled out of bed and wondered if there was a way to stop myself from sleeping so much. I mean, this is because Thanatos took you out. I guess he's not getting chicken and waffles. I threw on some pants and a shirt, forgoing my usual orange hoodie for the time being. Maybe it was the lingering thoughts of the fire that didn't make me feel cold, but I just needed to be moving. Maybe find Thanatos or even Roswell to get some answers. The house was quiet, and for what I could tell, I was the only one up. The thought of the fire was lingering in my mind, and I found my eyes looking around for anything that might be amiss. Did we have a fire extinguisher? Not that it'd help if the whole house went up. I was supposed to stop that from happening. What about an escape route? Like the several existing doors and open windows. Could we use the dinner bell? Though it seemed like the only time we'd used it was for the novelty rather than anything consistent. Minutes ticked by as I wandered back and forth and thought. I hadn't even considered going to get coffee until a small amount of movement caught my eye and I looked over to the corridor leading towards the basement.
Dave?
Why did that cause you to think about getting coffee? Roswell? I immediately looked around for Thanatos and breathed out upon not seeing him, shaking my head. For a moment, I thought you were getting ratatouille'd by Thanatos.
Thought what?
Thanatos, after yesterday?
Ah, that right.
Gave Roswell a look. It was good that he seemed better compared to the day before, but I wondered why. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, I'm feeling, well, better than I did yesterday, that's for sure.
Do you know why?
Shy of bed rest, it'd likely be something Oswin drugged me with, said it'd take some time to kick in, but it should keep me going.
Wait, when did that happen?
When?
He seemed to think of over, scratching his chin.
I guess it'd been sometime after you found me in the rec room.
Conveniently off screen.
After Thanatos knocked me out, you mean?
After he knocked us both out.
But you woke up sometime after that?
Yeah, Oswin injecting me with something.
He really needs to stop doing that.
Given how much better I'm feeling by comparison, I think I'd be willing to give him a pass on it.
You could have just agreed to let him do that in the first place then.
His previous drug trials were not great before. Yeah, Roswell, I don't think ever agreed to this, and he specifically said he needs to consent. Also, Dave isn't thinking about coffee, so like that line just made no sense.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about coffee until, and then Roswell shows up and he talks to Roswell about nothing related to coffee. Like, he's not thinking about coffee still. That's just not what that word means.
Yeah.
It should have been, I'm so stressed I wasn't even thinking about getting coffee. Full stop. And then, is how you write that. Grumbling, I shook my head. So no Thanatos, and no idea why he did what he did? Again, Roswell seemed to be lost in thought. A small frown forming. The longer he didn't say anything. Roswell?
Sorry, maybe that's the short answer anyway.
What? I guess maybe is the answer. That's what he means.
Yeah.
And the long answer?
Do you remember much about what happened when you came to the rec room yesterday?
I showed up, you had a medal and said...
It was a trap, yeah.
He sat down at the stairs, chin cradled in his hands as he waited for me to join him.
Admittedly, I don't really remember how I got to the rec room, just that I was kind of in a daze. I remember running into Thanatos somewhere just outside of my room, and he must have led me there.
And the medal?
That part I remember. He handed it over to me shortly after I collapsed onto the beanbag.
Alright, and the medal is where now?
In my room. But when he handed it over, I remember him saying something like, now we just have to wait for the hyena to show up, and a few minutes later you did.
That doesn't seem related to a medal. You knew it was a trap just from that?
You tell me, Dave. I don't think throwing you a party upon your arrival was the part of the plan.
Yeah, you're probably right, because that's what happened.
I didn't think the trap was going to be a literal sound trap, though.
Why literal?
Yeah, I don't know.
What is that adding to the sentence? And what is... I just I just think he'd say something else. Like, I didn't think he could do that, though. That's news or something, if he doesn't know that yet, maybe. Also, this shouldn't be you're probably right. It should be, yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah.
Because he's certainly right. We know he's right because it's what happened already. There's no probability in the past. What does he get out of knocking us both out, though? And why was I out until this morning, but you were woken up?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe because I was medicated. I was being medicated was why I woke up, not that I was awake for long before sleeping again.
Okay. Why is this being discussed at such length and in such a weird alien way? I was also asleep until basically now, but I woke up a little bit when they stabbed me and injected me and then I fell back asleep. Okay, cool story. Great. Why are we litigating that? There's nothing mysterious about that. Remind me to take a page out of Tyson's book when I see him again. Thanatos needs to stop being a jerk and knocking people out.
Catch him off guard near an open window and you might be able to enjoy a little bit of defenestration.
Yeah, okay. Well,
cool word. Roswell, it's too early for long words.
I mean, throwing him out the window.
Anti-disestablishmentarianism. You know, I'd probably be fine with that, if only once.
So what happens now?
I don't think there's much to really talk about, is there? Except... He turned to me with a wry smile, almost as if he knew what was going to be said before I did.
Except what's happening later today with Dominic.
Right.
Well, I don't think there's much to talk about, is there?
Sure there is. Osmond is going, sure. God damn it. But you are fine being the one to go with him?
Being fine with it is relative. All things considered, it makes sense that I'd go. With how I'm feeling now, minus the nerves, I could probably move a mountain.
Probably not. Debatable.
Nope. You'd be easy to kill. Even though
I'll
it's
do
dangerous.
it right now. I'll demonstrate.
I'll volunteer.
That's where the nerves are. I guess I could rely on being lucky and things are going to turn out okay, but, well...
That's it? You're just gonna hope you're lucky? What if something happens?
Then we deal with it. I don't think we're really able to plan around something going wrong there. Wrong out there. Or at least I'm not going to have many options once I'm out there.
What of us back here?
You'll have Benson plus everyone else to formulate a plan or an escape potentially. I'd probably leave that to Benson to know what's best.
Right.
Do we know when it's happening at least?
Just that. It's going to be happening today at some point.
All right, well, I should probably put some time aside to get a few things prepared, just in case. Mind if I borrow your flashlight?
It's going to be crazy if Dave doesn't get the flashlight, but Roswell does.
You know, Dave's flashlight, the well-established item we think about all the time, and that it's on the title screen and never mentioned otherwise. Yeah, of course, you'll need it if to get it back if it's dark at all.
Thanks, which really leaves only one thing.
Which is what?
To wait, really, beyond me mentally preparing myself, of course.
Yay, waiting. Nothing else, just waiting?
Well, I could go for some coffee, not to mention, well, I did also have a favor to ask.
What's the favor?
So I imagine that while I'm mentally preparing for the worst, I'm not going to want to be distracted. So to that end, I think Orlando might need some company today.
Why Orlando? No issues with it, I guess. Just curious.
Given his dad is on the mountain, I imagine a potential confrontation is doing wonders for his nerves.
Right, I guess that makes sense.
It'll be easy. Just take his mind off things with games or alike until it's time. Once I leave with Oswin, then it's going to get a little harder with, well, the waiting, I imagine.
You're just gonna spend all this time by yourself preparing?
Not all of it. I want to go talk to Tyson at some point. Maybe Sal.
How come? I need to know your day in excruciating detail every time.
Making a calculated gamble. If there are any problems, I trust those two will be able to help Benson out the most.
Not someone like Dean?
Dean is the backup, in case something goes wrong in there. He's the best one to try and lead the rescue mission. Not that I'd be for that, but in the worst case scenario, we need to be ready.
The worst case scenario, we need to be ready even though you're not in favor of doing it. Because you don't want to be rescued. That's paradoxical. I guess so. I wasn't sure I really believed him, but I think a lot of it was buried. It was buried by my uncertainty of how the day was going to go. Just coffee. Let's do coffee and wait for the others.
Sounds good.
Roswell and I made some coffee and sat in the dining room. He seemed to drink his down as if there was nothing wrong on the horizon, while I sipped on mine and finished it off only once it had gone cold. Ew. Slowly the others started to file in, quietly sitting down at the table, but it was clear that they were all troubled, likely about the same thing. It was clear when Roswell got up from the table and left, off to mentally prepare for or whatever. Don't take or whatever. We've been fucking agonizing over this exactly being what he's gonna do. We all looked at one another once he was gone. So, can't be. There has to be something new at some point, right? Get a medal.
They're just talking about Roswell getting the medal, but otherwise it's the same conversation we had in the other route.
Oh, that's a mine off things. They're just like talking about how they're going to spend time. Alright, now it's time to distract Orlando. Orlando, despite the controller in his hands, looking somewhat relaxed in the beanbag, was still trembling as he slowly played. Playing slowly is quite a thing to imply. I like to imagine he's playing Mario Kart and he's just like not driving fast. He's just
Yeah. I remember this scene as well. We already got the game playing scene.
Did we? There's so many other game playing scenes. I wasn't sure what to say or do in a situation like this. You stop staring, it's kind of freaking me out.
I don't know if it's exactly the same, but they talk about Roswell, they play Mario Kart, I think at some point Tyson and Haas join in.
Yeah.
It might shift over to Mario Party, I think, maybe.
I fear that I'm just not going to be able to do anything to help if anything happens to my dad. Nope, that's all there is to it anyway. It's
okay.
it's just expressing the default emotion you expect with nothing else to it really. Think maybe he changes his mind, the deal's off? Because Dom hasn't been here yet.
Yeah.
What if he just doesn't show up? Be different at least. Granted, last time everyone made it back, so it didn't really amount to much.
Yep.
Somebody said what time it is.
It's all skippable.
Has someone ever said what time it is before?
I don't think so.
I was just like,
Just
whoa.
in relation to meals.
Also, Australia uses the 12-hour calendar, 12-hour clock.
I think most countries do.
Where is he? Oswin has stopped about halfway down the stairs towards us, breathing heavy and embracing himself on the railing. Who? Thanatos. What did he do? Did something happen? He was gone again before answering Dean's question, though one look between each of us told me that we were all intended on following. Oh, between us, we're intending on following. Orlando detoured to tell Haas what had happened. Someone sedated him. He's out cold. But who? My assumption would be either that Thanatos is behind this, or who knows for certain just what happened in this room. Wait, you didn't sedate him? I can understand how you came to that conclusion, but no. Given I spent a good deal of effort getting him to the point of being able to leave with me, putting him back under right before Dominic shows up, doesn't make much sense now, does it? How do you know Dom is about to show up? I don't. The timing is suspicious as it is, as I would have assumed that if he had shown up, you would have let someone know, or someone would have anyway. Stop talking. You don't need to express this entire thought. It's so long, and we know he's not here. I get it. In light of such news, I could only assume he's yet to arrive. Cool. Thanks for deducing the fact that he's not here yet. We already know. Like, we, the cast of characters you're talking to, all know he's not here. I approached carefully, looking at Roswell. He just seemed to be sleeping, as if nothing was wrong at all. My eyes traveled over to the medal sitting on his bedside table. It was here, like he said, and I wandered over and picked it up. Ah, yes, the Ares medal. Not Virgo? No, who told you that? Orlando did, earlier today. I can understand the confusion, but I assure you that this one is Ares. No idea where he'd picked it up from, truth be told, but if it's found, that's only a good thing. But the symbol's a V, isn't it? Dave, this is hardly the time. Can't you see the problem we have in front of us? Stop wasting our time on this tangent the author wrote. I don't know what you expect of either of us, Oswin. We know as much as you do, and between the three of us, you're the only one qualified to do anything about it. Oswin grumbled, shaking his head. There's nothing I can do. If anything, we're now faced with a very real problem should Dominic arrive. Well, that's all there is to it, right? You just have to pick someone else to go with you. Oswin's attention was locked on Roswell the moment Dean stopped talking, and he nodded slowly. Yes, I suppose I will. Dean looked briefly to me before he went back to Oswin, scratching his neck. I volunteer. Noted. Good. I'll get ready then. I never said yes.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It was like, that was presumptuous.
But who else would be willing to go? That'd be available to go. We need to find Thanatos. If he's behind this, then there's probably a reason. The reason was that he didn't want Roswell to going, if any. I didn't feel like he was forcing someone else specific to go instead, just that it wasn't him. Agreed. I'll tuck Roswell into bed before I go searching.
That's condescending.
I'll tuck him into bed. Oh, little tykes all tuckered out. I'll head back downstairs and let the others know what's happened. I thought everyone else looked amongst us like we were coming, but then everyone else vanished from the scene. That was in the previous conversation. I had to drink some drink of water. I am damaging myself with talking. Dean was barely out the room before I could hear him run into Haas and Orlando just outside the room. Uh-huh. You end the sentence at Orlando, because we already know he's out the room. It's just basic proofreading that every sentence repeats the same thing all the time. A hurried explanation later, and they wandered off quickly in search of relaying the news to Tyson and Sal, along with finding the rat. Thank you, narration, for re-summarizing the stuff that he already said was happening out loud. Dave. I looked over as Osmond was carefully picking Roswell up, shifting him in his arms before sliding him carefully onto bed once the covers were pulled back. Cool. I know what putting someone in bed is. We should have a talk. I don't like the sound of that. It's nothing serious, just overdue. So when a man and a woman... What's it about? Benson told me you were asking about whether or not Roswell and I were related again. Ah, right. Did he also tell you that he was willing to answer whatever questions I had after you two had left? I don't think he said that. I think you just said, I'll ask you tomorrow, for some reason. He did. And I have a trade I'd like to offer you. You're going to ask me to go out with you into the woods. Too obvious? It's a terrible idea is what it is. Dean's better suited to it. He's at least good at outdoor stuff. True, he'd make the better choice normally, but there's things that need to be said before, beyond the range at which a certain rat can listen in. Things about your father. Things about Roswell and myself. Things just better coming from my mouth. Things outside the range of the rat. So things that you can say with certainty he's never learned in any timeline. As opposed to Benson's. Your choices are between me potentially lying to you on the way to me being held as collateral to get you all home safely, or half-truths from Benson. Pick your poison. Those are basically, you've presented them as basically the same thing. What the fuck are you talking about? So you'll tell me once we're on the way? I'll need some time to grab a few things beforehand, but yes, I don't imagine Dominic is going to mind too much as long as we're quiet and subtle about the finer points. Of all people, Dominic listening in is great. Nothing could go wrong with Dominic knowing intricate details about our backstory in the time travel mansion. And there's no other option? You can't just tell me now and instead take, like, anyone else? This is the offer I give you. Either I tell you, and only you, and Dominic, or I take someone else in there, and we make the exchange as originally planned. This isn't fair. Life isn't fair, and I'm awful. And the others, they're just going to let you get away with this? If you volunteer, I imagine the others will fight against the suggestion, but I do believe I made it clear that the decision at the end of the day remains with me. Something in me broke a little. I could have just said that I didn't want to know. I didn't need to know. But he'd hit me where it hurt most, bringing up my dad after knowing the two of them had talked. Okay, I hate this, but okay. Trust me, I fear that once I've imparted the knowledge to you, you'll know how to put it to best use. Beyond just walking down the driveway now, and risk missing Dominic, heading to the woods together is the only option. Heading down the driveway now to miss Dominic? It's not even the right direction. We headed downstairs together, but Oh, because he's insisting it has to be out of earshot of Thanatos at all costs for some reason. And if they go down the driveway, they'll miss him. It's so goofy. Whatever he knows, Thanatos has to have learned at some point. There's too many timelines.
Yeah.
We headed downstairs together, but I was dazed, looking somewhere far off without acknowledging those around me. Osmond was split off from me at some point, presumably going to search for Thanatos, whereas I figured I should be keeping watch for when Dominic arrived. I wondered if I was getting numb from everything happening, from all the worry and fear building up to where I just couldn't feel it anymore. It was a strange feeling, almost like being trapped. But trapped in a way that was different to the times when Thanatos had put me under, different to the times when I just wasn't sure what to do, different to anything else I had felt before. But I was sure of one thing at the very least. I was giving up. I didn't feel like I had any control anyway, so why fight it? What things I had managed to figure out, the people I managed to save, was any of it my doing? Just give up, Dave. There's no point in worrying about it. Sal jump scare. I heard the back door click open and Sal wandered up to join me. I barely turned to acknowledge he was there, still lost in my head, but he spoke anyway.
Ouch.
2 things. First, are you all right?
I'm fine. It was a lie, and he knew it too. But given what he'd likely been told already, he just nodded and let go.
The second was that we found Thanatos.
And did he?
I don't know, he's not talking.
At all?
Just stating that it's out of his hands now, that we're in uncharted territory for him.
Oh.
We brought him into the dining room if you wanted to talk to him or ask anything of him. He talks to you the most from what I understand.
I get the impression that he made this happen just so that what happens next will happen. He's forcing what's about to happen.
Which is?
Something bad.
My brain stopped processing text for a second, and I just read it as "so me thing bad," and I was very confused.
And there's nothing we can do.
Thanatos said it already. It's out of his hands now. It's out of ours too. No one has agency and no one will make choices or do things.
Oh, well,
It's alright. I've gotten used to not knowing anything, Sal. Just look forward to being home soon. Look forward to being home soon. It's what I'm doing. He nodded slowly and headed back inside, though I heard him hesitate going back inside. God damn it! Why? Why?
It's really bad.
I was
writing.
back there waiting, occasionally looking up in case Dominic had shown up. Not that I was alone long. Oswin breathed out into the evening air as he stepped up next to me. I caught the vague smile on his face, and I wondered how he was able to do it. I'm amazed that he caught wind of the constant use of sighing out, so then he just started saying breathing out just as often. And there it is, just nonstop.
Yep.
Man, if I ever read a visual novel, it's gonna have a line where somebody wanders around and sighs out.
Yeah.
Not fretting too much, are we? I don't know. Understandably, you'd get nervous, anxious, or any combination of emotions. See, I also have the problem the narrator has, where I have to list a bunch of random emotions and not commit to any of them. It's just a constant in this in the story, for some reason. Then why are you smiling? This is the only sprite they drew. I looked at him again briefly and noticed the telltale signs I recognized in my own face. He was scared. Smiling, but scared. What other choice do we have? We'll make our exchange. I'll stay, and you'll head back. Get your friends and get home. Me, well... Do you think he'll,
You know.
fuck? there's like a 50% chance that, you know, is referencing something romantic or sexual anyway, even in the narrative. So the fact that they keep using it outside that context is really just finish sentences. It's possible, but I've made my peace. Been wanting that dragon dick for years. He chuckled. Chuckled? The Pokemon? He chuckled, shaking his head and wiping his eyes without taking his glasses off.
My stamina for this dumb game is wearing out so fast. I was in it to win it 5 minutes ago, and being back in this CG has sapped my life of
the CG harms you.
Strength. Yeah.
Benson is livid.
Here we are. Did you know that directly from the Bandai Namco Entertainment America store, you can get a light arm? That's a fun fact from Elden Ring. Anyway, what's happening in Password right now?
Your entire fun fact got eaten by Discord.
How did that happen?
You could have earned.
Okay. What I said was, if you go to the Bandai Namco Entertainment of America website, you can pre-order a life-size replica of Millennia's prosthetic arm from Elden Ring.
Oh.
And it's $459.
Fuck.
And that's worth it compared to this. That is money I would spend over.
I guess it's not that much in some ways. I've spent $300 on art before.
You could have a prosthetic arm from Elden Ring. You could do that.
A prosthetic.
Instead of reading this.
And he's not going
to
stop you?
Am I convincing you to stop, Keith? Is it working?
I don't really even want it.
No, my chance.
I don't really want that arm, but also, like, I feel like you convincing me involves you shipping it to me, not this, or just convince me to waste money on a video game paraphernalia.
Think about where you'll fit it in your room.
I can't.
A gigantic Empyrean's arm.
I sincerely can't put it anywhere. I guess I could. Well, no, it's a life-size arm. I definitely can't go anywhere. I briefly thought I could put it on top of my PS5, but no.
No, it's too big.
I'd have to move the top mask.
It's too big.
That's where it lives.
You could get a life-size diorama of Little Nightmares. I'm shopping right now. I'm doing anything I can to not.
Very much.
I don't like the first Little Nightmares. I like the second one a lot.
I haven't
just
played the second one yet.
Anything to escape from Password.
I have an excruciatingly detailed Zod figure, and it's next to my monitor, so that brings me joy while I'm playing Password. It's really hot. It's a problem.
Nice.
Anyway, it's not going to stop you. It's not. Toaster can't stop you.
Oh no.
He can't. This was my decision. Punishment or comeuppance for everything that's gone wrong during your stay here. And also the 100 children I killed. Remember them? What? I'll explain more when we're on our way. He stretched and gave me a once-over. You should go get your flashlight. It's only getting darker.
Okay.
Yeah, good idea. I went back up and grabbed it, taking another look around the room for anything that could have been important, but found nothing. My wait for when we were meant to head off was spent at the top of that stairs, looking down at the foyer. I could hear the others talking about what to do with Thanatos, Benson's irritated voice among them. Amongst. No doubt his mood was soured after Oswin had filled him in on what he decided was going to happen. Though given the lack of attention I was getting, I could only assume the others hadn't been told of Oswin's decision. Eventually, I stepped back outside, noticing Oswin lingering about as if just waiting for Dominic's arrival without bothering to prepare anything. But we weren't waiting long at all. From the shadows, Dominic emerged and started to make his way over to us.
Sorry, I'm late.
You never gave us a time as to when you were going to be arriving, did you?
Oh, don't forget the apology. We have a walk to get to.
Dom is somehow the best written character, somehow. Yeah, I guess you're right. Wait just a fucking moment. Tyson stormed out of the back door and put a hand on my shoulder, pulling me backwards and stepping in front of me as a shield. You're not taking Dave. You dumb motherfuckers didn't clear this with Tyson. What do you think was gonna happen?
So you're going?
No, the hyena is the one coming with us. Like hell he is. As Tyson was building up into a yelling match, I hugged him hard from behind and made him stop. As he registered what was happening, I pulled him away and he turned to face me properly.
I'm dying. The scene is already irritating me.
What's going on? It needs to happen this way, Ty, through extremely obtuse reasoning that even I don't fully understand. I'm not letting you go out there. You have to. What if something happens? If I don't, same sort of problem.
We're gonna have a problem unless we get a move on.
Dave. I'll be back as soon as I can, Ty. Promise. You don't, I'll be coming looking for you. We'll recreate the exact same scene in that one house, except I will have come for you this time. And it'll be annoying. I leaned up and kissed him lightly on the side of his muzzle. It'll be okay. It was a lie I had to tell myself, and my face gave away immediately that I didn't believe it. Tyson, however, seemed to be struggling to understand, but didn't stop me from moving forward again, to stand in front of Dominic. Let's get going. I chose not to look back. I had to keep looking forward, otherwise the pit in my stomach was going to make me throw up. Or maybe not that, but instead be unable to move. Stop caveating every emotional response to anything. Just let the first thought stand as the emotion and stop always obscuring it. Like you don't know how Dave feels in his own story. It always comes across like he wrote a bunch of options to then commit to later and then didn't. Dominic led the way forward, Osmond behind me as we followed close behind. My flashlight, for the time being, was unneeded, but we were quickly losing any light coming from the mansion. As I stumbled, Osmond reached out and kept me upright, seemingly distracted. Dominic, you don't mind to be filled with silence with some chatting, do you? Dom didn't stop and seemed to wave Osmond off with a grunt. Osmond looked across to me, his voice dropping in volume. Well, we're out here now. We're free to talk. About? I assumed you had questions. Fuck you, Oswin. You literally said there was a specific thing that you were going to say once we got out here. And now you're like, oh, you ask me. Here, I'll give you a text prompt. See if you can guess what I was going to tell you. Woo! Past my 7 riddles. It's also just narratively insane to be like, now we're hostages. We're free to talk. I assume that you had answers, or if not answers, things you wanted to tell me yourself.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, why is he having this particular time to talk about all this stuff when he could have just told Dave everything earlier?
It's some of the extremely vague context of he needs to say it out of earshot of Thanatos, which is stupid because if he ever tells Dave this stuff, then there's definitely a timeline where Thanatos has heard it by now.
Yeah.
So he just knows. That is true, yes. That was it's a ass pull justification for the real reason, which is just they want Dave to be on the journey in this route, which is functionally basically the first change between Route A and B, is that Dave is on this mission from the get-go now. It took this long, but something finally happened that changed between these two routes in a impactful way, at least. Like, we're presumably going to meet Memphis.
Yes.
A character we don't talk to in the entire Route B. He just shows up, and I don't think we ever speak with him directly.
Yep.
He rummaged in his coat pocket and pulled out an envelope. Is it the same one from your lab? Yes, though given the circumstances, I'm going to give it to you now. He offered it out, and I took it, unsure of what to do with it. You could have just given it to me back at the house. Back then, I assumed that I was going to be giving it to someone else. Roswell, you mean? Yes, Roswell. It was a photo, right? Of what? That I'd ask for you to see for yourself, but only once you're back at the mansion. Why? Why didn't you just give it to Roswell before you left? I'm so confused. Why? Aside from it being dark? I have a flashlight, you jackass. I feel like this might be something worth having a safe space to properly digest what's in that picture. And that's definitely going to happen later. We're definitely going to have safety later at the mansion. It's not something gross, is it? It's a dick pic, Dave. I wouldn't say so, no. But given we're meant to be following behind Dominic to wherever he's taking us, now is not the best time. For now, put it in your pocket, if it'll fit. Now to hit you with all these other earth-shattering revelations that it is time for, somehow. I did so and hurried along to keep what distance I had from Dom consistent. Alright, so start talking about my dad. I suppose I should start with a question, because that's what I always do. Answering questions with questions. Did Thanos ever tell you what David saw? You did. No, he did. What? Wait, no. You did. It was a shooting. Right. When I told you why Carol was here. Why was that exchange? That was weird. Dad wanted to bring Memphis in, but also save my life. A sentiment that, as you know, couldn't be accomplished. He chose you over taking down one of the most dangerous men I know of, anyway. But why? A father, a decent one at least, will do anything for his son. One that is not so great. One that is not so great might choose differently.
This is so trying.
So, what? I still had to suffer because Dad wasn't around anymore. Even now I feel that sometimes that you should have died. Not exactly. Closer to wanting to die, or at least that's how it was until a week or so ago, when we cured my depression. I learned to cry and my depression was cured a week ago. It's gone now. It's just gone. Even though this is a conversation about how I feel now, I'm bringing up how I felt a week ago. I'm saying it's over, but also I'm kind of saying it's how it is now. Are you confused yet? Osmond grunted at me. Grunted, but let me continue.
He grunted at you?
Grunted. But things are different now. I feel not entirely better, but a little bit. I want to live. It's hard, but I think that's what Dad would have wanted. Yeah, you think that when your dad died to save your life, he wanted you to live? Very good, Dave. Wow, you've matured.
This conversation is simultaneously so frustrating and so boring.
Yeah,
this is like unbelievable how little ground we're treading, given that he's recapping information we already have and have seen Dave react to.
It's also recapping basic human emotions. Like, I thought Sal was neurodivergent, and that's why he was like that. Like, because he talked about basic human relationships, like in a really weird abstract way, where he's describing them at us, like we need to be told like what they are. But everyone does this in the whole story all the time. Like, he's explaining the concept that a dad might want his son to live, and that a bad dad might not want his son to live, which is an even weirder second sentence.
All I've been doing for the past like 10 minutes while this is happening is scrolling up and down my Steam library, looking at the things we could be doing, if not this. And I just have been lingering on Wanted Dead, thinking like, if we were playing a bad game that could be funny, maybe I'm reaching Zen with this. Dead.
I'm looking forward to it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. That should probably be the next game we play.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
it could even be during. I mean, the plan for that was to be one of your stream games, so it's more, we're waiting for you to finish Elden Ring, not Password.
Yes, we are waiting for me to finish Elden Ring for that, and that'll be a while, but
I could just pop by on your like Monday nights or whenever the fuck you choose and be like, oh, we made it on these weeks.
We could do Monday nights after. Let me finish the Elden Ring. Let me finish Elden Ring DLC prep and get my next video out before we do that. But my point is, I'm just sitting here. I'm sitting here looking at
Password has infected our brains. Now we're speaking logistics.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just sitting here and just thinking, like, think of all of the things that could have been, Toaster. Think about all of your mistakes in front of you in the course of your life. And then in the background, just as like radioactive ambient noise is like, Dave, don't you, that is correct. Your mother came to visit me on the night your father died when he tried to stop the timelines from, it's just like it's the soundtrack of my madness. I'm losing my actual mind.
I can't wait to make Toaster play Yick IV.
I have to play, do I have to play Y2K first?
It's replacing it.
Yeah, but for the science of it.
If you play Y2K first, you won't play IV with me.
No, but I'm saying, should you retread Y2K? And then
I can always let my playthrough run in the background again to remind myself, I guess, because I played it with Stephanie.
No, I mean, like, I understand that.
Are you okay?
Yeah, no, I'm positing, like, in order to properly appreciate Y2K 4 or whatever, should you be my co-pilot through that game so that I can experience the horror of it and then play it again and experience the new shape. You know what I'm saying? Like, I
understand that the one part of you that wants to fully appreciate all media would want to play both.
Yeah.
But there's also the value in just being the person who doesn't know what's going to happen.
Who didn't know what happened. There is truth in that.
So that the parts that they reuse that are still insane, you can still be like, what the fuck?
Okay, but here's the problem though, is that the audience watching this doesn't understand that you have been slowly weathering me down over months and months to get me to play Y2K with you. And this is what happened. This is what's happening to me, chat. We're sitting here, comments section, and Toaster's losing his mind because Keith has subjected him to months of password torture, and now I'm agreeing to play Y2K.
A game that you emphatically refused to play a year ago.
Yeah, it's just because it's like Chinese water torture. It's like it's just dripped on my forehead for a year, and now I'll do anything to get out of my restraints.
Like an IV, like a Yicky IV.
I need to know, I guess. There could be so many worse things that we're doing, but this is... So normally I philosophically believe that I would rather have a mundane and boring object than a bad object. Like, I think that a 5 out of 10 movie is always preferable to a 1 out of 10 movie.
Oh, that's an unpopular opinion.
Yes, I know it is, but I just fundamentally disagree with the idea of things being so bad they're good. Like, it is a existential threat in my brain that people believe that.
Yeah, but extremely bad things, they're not necessarily so bad they're good. They're just very interesting.
Yeah. No, I agree with that statement. But what I'm saying is, like, I think slowly over time, as people engage more and give more mind share to things that are not good,
things that deserve... Yick already was successful so much from that attention that it has a remake.
Yes, exactly.
So it's too late.
But so that fear just sits with me.
What if we could cause the 3 make?
Yeah. So that fear sits with me. But Password has been so unrelentingly like eating plain oatmeal, cold plain oatmeal, that right now I want to lick the 9-volt battery. Like I want to try. I want to put a handful of pennies in my mouth and just feel what they feel like on my tongue. Like
you want to chug that Four Loko just to see how bad it fucks you up.
Yeah, I desperately need something, and I'm sitting here with Yick in my Steam cart. Staring down the barrel of a gun as I hover over the continue to payment screen, just begging for anything that isn't this. I'm actually crying thinking about this. Like, you could not have manufactured a more wit's end scene in this game than Oswin and Dave walking through the woods with their captors. The first actually divergent scene in this path in 13 days. And all they're using this time for is to go over something we've already established
There's like,
and are
good
aware
dads
of
are
in the plot.
good and bad dads are bad.
It's not even that. It's Dave. Your father did something to save you. Remember when we talked about your father doing something to save you? And now your mom was involved because she came here that night and it's all led to this. Remember when I said this exact thing to you 5 days ago? Remember that,
Yeah.
Dave? Dave.
Yeah.
It's just, I'm just sitting here begging for release. That's all. That's all that's happening. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to have a mental breakdown on the stream or on the recording. It just happened. It just happened very suddenly. I really wasn't expecting that to happen. I'm sorry, everyone. Okay, I think I'm back to normal.
It's not good.
Yeah, it's okay. I think this was.
They just drive over there and pick you up.
This is truly the
ground.
moment that this game broke me, I think. It's just, we waited so long. We're on day 23 of Route A for literally any variation.
Everyone who told us that
occur.
Route A was so much better and that we were playing the bad route the whole time, just like with the Sal versus Tyson thing, they were also lying about A. They were just lying.
Yeah.
Like, they presumably played this and knew, so they're just so undiscerning they didn't notice that it's basically the same route all the way through, and they just lied.
I'm just really struggling over the fact that we waited this whole time to get something new and applicable strictly to this route, not Tyson's path or whatever. I wanted new plot information to help us move forward, and they're using this time to retread.
Nope, they rejected the basic premise of having routes, more or less. They just didn't do it.
In pain.
Making Route B even more pointless than ever before, because it's just Route A. It's not the bad, pointless, dead-end part of the first story. It turns out the whole story was always like that, and people were just, like, coping when they said that just Route B is like that. And, Toki's purchased Yik. So look forward to our playthrough of Yik 4.
I'm in so much pain right now.
I'd say so. What about you? What about me? Fuck you. Answer questions, you fucker. Benson said you always wanted to be a dad, but life said otherwise. Did he know? Well, yeah. Said that's why you interacted the way you did with Roswell. Yes, I suppose that's not entirely inaccurate. So, are you related or what? Alson breathed out through his nose, shaking his head. The photo explains that better. How could a photo explain that better when I'm just asking you directly? Well, answer the question. Alright. Yes, we're related. So, like an uncle? That's a close enough description. Oh my god, just answer the fucking question! We've already known the answer was yes this whole time because fucking, the question of whether or not you were related, fucking, Benson said it's a touchy subject, which isn't no, which means it's yes. That wasn't a yes. If you're not an uncle, then what? Uncle is sufficient, though. Frankly, I don't feel like family, but rarely, very rarely does that boy make me feel good. What? Good? Just good. I wouldn't go putting a label on it like love or some such, but I do care for the boy. In a way, I don't really know why. How or why. Maybe it is love after all. This guy's fucking... They're aliens. They're all aliens. Also, the sentence you should have said, sometimes he makes you feel good. You saying rarely is emphasizing the rareness and not that it exists, so it sounds like I think it doesn't happen functionally. And Roswell knows? I wouldn't put it past him to assume that we're related, though I haven't explicitly told him that we share a family tree. How the fuck did he plan this trip here at your house if he doesn't know you're related? Which means you two had met before this vacation started. That's right. But you barely leave the house. Also correct. Roswell's been to the mansion before. Yes. I continued walking alongside Oswin, thoughts swimming in my head. Thoughts that kept circling back around to wanting to talk to Roswell again to get inside the story.
Wait, stop. Didn't they explicitly state in the past that, like, when we were talking about things with Benson, wasn't he like, only one other person has been in the mansion other than you, Dave? And it turned out to be Haas?
Maybe that was a year ago. I don't remember anything.
You are correct. That was approximately 400 years ago, and I don't know why I brought it up. But but he just said Roswell's been here. So was Benson just lying to us? And yet, but again, the context of the lie is a pointless lie. He led us into thinking we would find the right person by saying there's only one other person. We asked around to ask if anyone had been here. I think Roswell even, because we asked people, didn't we? We went around the group and then asked multiple people, have you ever been here before? And they were like, no.
There was definitely a part of the story where we're trying to deduce who had been here before.
Yeah, and it turned out it was Haas, obviously. But how did we discount Roswell from that? Did he just say he hadn't?
I don't know. So we're recording this in June, and we started last June. And that's approximately when this happened.
Okay,
I do not remember.
Yeah.
That's
it's
very
fine.
Specific of a thing to go for.
Yeah, I'm gonna not care about it anymore. I'm sorry. It really hit my brain in a way that was interesting to think about for 2 seconds because I was upset at what the game was communicating to us. But now that the moment has passed, I don't care anymore.
Why hide any of this? Why not say anything sooner? Why lie about it? Don't think too hard on it, Dave. Because... Okay. Stop it. Stop thinking about it. There's not much to really digest. What a great thing to say about your own twist, game. Everything I've told you doesn't affect much now, anyway. When I get back to the mansion, what do you want me to do? Pardon? I don't want anything from you aside from getting off this mountain. Then what's significant about the letter? I wrote a message on the back. A message for Roswell. And you want me to make sure he reads it? You can read it too, just... It's important that he gets the message as well. I could have given it to him before I left, but... I'm dumb. I'm just very dumb, Dave. Sure, I can do that. Again, we continued to walk, silence stretching out with Dominic occasionally looking over his shoulder at us to make sure we were still following. It's hard to make out his fur in the dark, the only thing helping being his tank top. Dave, you still haven't actually gotten your answers about anything. You still didn't ask the basic questions. Why is silence stretching on? Talk about your fucking dad. Find out the mystery.
He did just expertly reroute Dave once again.
Which is weird because the scenes seem to exist for that purpose.
Yes.
It's like they just forget.
It's like they just forget.
Plus my flashlight, though the darkness felt so oppressive at times I wasn't sure it was working. It's not ambiguous. It's of light in the dark. What the fuck are you talking about? Dave? I almost jumped when it's advanced darkness. I almost jumped when he said my name after so long without saying anything. What? I'm sorry. For what? Were you getting wrapped up in things? If I had been a better man, a stronger man, then perhaps I could have thought of a way your father might still be with us, and you wouldn't be on this mountain. You can't change the past.
If that was possible, there would have been a universe where that existed, right?
Depending on...
That's the point of this.
Seemingly, because, like, well, I guess somebody else has to see Dave's dad die in order to save Dave's dad.
Yeah.
And so since nobody else saw Dave's dad's fate, only Dave's dad saw Dave's fate. That's all that we have.
Yeah.
So there's I guess there's the timeline where Dave's dad is alive is the timeline where Dave's dead.
Yeah.
Also, the rule broke a little bit, and I think it's supposed to be significant, but they blew past it without discussing it, I think. But in Dave's vision earlier, he saw himself die, which breaks the rules of the vault, which is significant.
Oh, yeah, you're right. That did happen.
Dave died by getting run over at the bus stop, apparently, and it seemingly wasn't a nightmare, but a vision. Which means that whatever Thanatos is doing to him right now, Dave can see his own death now.
Huh.
Unless that was a mistake. You can't change the past, don't worry about it. Perhaps not, though I still wonder how much Thanatos has properly orchestrated everything that's happened. I almost stopped walking to look at him, but followed after when he didn't break stride. What do you mean? Well, given Memphis keeps his list of associates either flagrantly out in the open or hidden somewhere where no one would know to look, getting anything of value, information-wise, would be difficult. What? Okay. Makes sense, but doesn't answer the question. What I mean is that your father only arrived on this mountain because I called. At the time, you pointed out that I hadn't done business with Memphis, and while I had spoken to him, there was no way the police would know that. But why? To take down Memphis? Because Thanatos said I should, and you listened. When the machine and the multi-universal awareness suggest you do something because it's beneficial, you typically listen. Huh. I guess, but what if he's lying? I imagine that were the case. I imagine that were that the case, you'd be dead. I thought something was wrong. I'm like, what am I reading? Or perhaps you never would have come to the mansion, or I would have tried applying for something to let me practice medicine again. Really? After what happened with the trial? It would have been a long shot, but I do thoroughly enjoy being a chemist. Enough to try? To leave the mansion? There will be a time where I'll have to leave the mansion eventually, Dave. I do not intend on dying here. Why? Why not? if you're so content to stay here. I would hope no one would. Right?
We're getting close.
Dave, you never discussed the thing. You dumb motherfucker. He blackmailed you into coming on this trip, and then you never talked about the thing that he blackmailed you with. And now it's too late. Now the next scene's gonna start. What the fuck? It's like they forget. Like he was holding vital information over you about your father, and then you just didn't ask? It had been the first time Dom had spoken since we left, and I was only then curious conscious of how sore my feet were from the walk. Just how long have we been going for anyway? Nothing else was said until we hit a point where a soft light was lingering somewhere between the trees, and eventually we'd arrived. Whew, and that'll be for next week.
Thank God.
That sounded so sincere. You sound like you just found water.
I can't believe how bad this route is. That is unfathomable.
Because it's the true route. So you're like, this is the story he always wanted to tell, presumably.
Yeah.
The fucking Folding Ideas' video about Nostalgia Critic's Low Ball just looms in my brain. It just repeats. And there's so many quotes that stick there. And this one's always like, this game always makes me think about the one that's like, there's a tremendous amount of effort on display, but no evidence as to like what passion was driving it.
Yeah.
Like, this took so much work, but why?
Yeah.
And I just don't question that in any other furry visual novel. It's really obvious what drove them, even the bad ones. You're like, yes. I know what's happening and why. I know why someone made this. I know why the storyline's happening, even when it's bad.
But I had a full-on mental breakdown this episode. Like, I truly lost the plot for a solid 10 minutes there as my brain desperately slapped around in the dark for something to hold on to that wasn't this. So, like, I too am asking the question, but why? But perhaps for a different reason, which is that this is This is the play from The King in Yellow that drives people crazy. Like they read it and they just lose their minds. And that is exactly, this is a cognito hazard. Like I am losing it perceiving this. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with it. And I'm coming to terms with it. So why aren't you? That's all I'm saying. I don't know, man. I experienced ego death just now, like going through this.
Oh no, that's life. That means it's life changing. It's gonna be like the time with the Mandalorian.
It's gonna be. This is gonna.
Last time you experienced ego death, you developed a new religion.
I did. This is tough. This is gonna require a lot of therapy to unpack, I think. And like,
well, good news for me. I'm currently
good for you. You should talk about this during your therapy sessions.
No, I will sound like an insane person.
Yes, you will. Yes. Okay. Well, this happens to me.
Have a nice day.